My name is Armando Lopez, and I'm president of the Arts Collaborative, and we really appreciate you being here. I'd like to introduce my board. I apologize for having a cheat sheet. I'm a young-looking 70-year-old. So. Then we have our board members here, Christine Martinez, where are you? Maria Brown. Sharon Ardell. Priscilla Herrera. Grace Arturo. David Taylor. David Wright. Oh, there we go. And then Leah, of course, Leah Lacayo. And I want to thank Leah Lacayo, and I want to thank Bonnie Atmore, our co-chairs for this evening's event. And I also want to thank Bonnie especially for being the host or hostess of this event today. I'm not sure which of the two is politically correct today. Anyway, thank you very much, Bonnie, for hosting this event for us. We'll get into the program in just a minute. I was told by our event planner, Tricia, not to forget to mention the silent auction. She said, so I'm not going to forget. Don't forget the silent auction. All right, with that, I'd like to introduce Leah, who will take this program forward.
Thank you, Armando. It is my honor and my privilege to introduce the Choral Tales Project. So thank you, Armando, Ludwig, Heidi, and Bonnie, and all of those that are here. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Good evening. My name is Leah Lacayo, and I'd like to tell you a little about the Choral Tales Project, which the Arts Collaborative is sponsoring, and which we are here to learn about this evening. And unfortunately, I have to sort of read my script because it's sort of involved. Like other members of the board, I was instantly attracted to this project when I heard about it. It's an artistic endeavor that combines beautiful music and dance with a sense of social responsibility. It touches the heart and conveys noble values, and it does so with a light and playful touch without moralizing or spelling out a message. The project is designed to spread the spirit of human oneness through delightful, uplifting folk tales selected from around the world and presented in original music and dance. The project highlights a variety of cultures and helps to promote an appreciation for cultural diversity. At the same time, it has the effect of breaking down barriers of prejudice. After all, we are more alike than we are different. This is what art does. Art brings us together, promotes unity, and that is why the Arts Collaborative is so excited about this project. To begin, 4 folktales from different continental regions have been selected for the project's initial stage. 1 from the United Kingdom, or Europe, Mexico for the Americas, China for Asia, and Tanzania for Africa. The tale from Tanzania, by the way, was a favorite of Nelson Mandela. You can see summaries of these 4 stories on display around the room this evening. Folk tales are an ideal way to illustrate the essential oneness of humankind. By allowing humanity to tell its own stories, it lets us see how, on the most basic level, people everywhere have the same kinds of thoughts and feelings and aspirations. The project will produce the 4 tales professionally, filmed in video format, showing the onstage performance of the 4 works by a choir with dancers. The resulting video will be suitable for broadcast on public television and other media outlets, and will be made available worldwide. The video will help us bring the project to the attention of community choirs throughout the country and to choral directors and dance departments in colleges in the U.S. and abroad. Oxnard College is graciously donating the use of its Performance Arts Theater as the venue for the filming. The project budget is $73,000, and so far we have raised $43,000. And let me tell you, its appeal is really widespread. Donations have already come in from all around the U.S. and all around the world, including China, New Zealand, the UK, South Africa, and Canada. And now I'll turn it over to our co-chair, Bonnie Atmore.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Let's give her another round of applause for telling us around this wonderful project. So I see a lot of familiar faces, but I think I'm even more excited about the new faces of folks that I have not met tonight. Thank you so much for being here with us. I have the wonderful privilege of sharing a great bio about Ludwig, and he is the consummate gentleman. How do I even begin to describe him? Well, I'm going to read his bio, but before I do that, I'm going off script, so I'm going to get a little pinch from him later. I wanted to take a moment and just say, in the short time that I got to work together with this committee and how collaborative they were, it really helped me understand what this project was about. And so when you look at that piece of art, it is about common agenda. It's about collective impact. It is a story about unity and solidarity. And I think so many times through nature, we're able to remember that that's really how we want to live each and every day if we can. And I could not think of a better time for us to gather today. I don't know about you, but my heart has been very heavy with everything that's been happening politically and then just what occurred yesterday. It stops you dead in your tracks, and that heaviness in your heart sometimes can be hard to manage. But look at all of you. You are here this evening, and why? Because we do continue to hope. We aspire to get together with one in a harmonious way, and art is one of those few things that allows us to have that levity, to lift our hearts. And just like with food that feeds our body, and you know how much I love talking about food, we know that just as that nourishment is important in our bodies, the arts can nourish our souls. They can help us pick up our hearts. And so tonight as we're together, open your hearts to that story and think about how you can connect into that greater whole to bring that levity, that lightness that we're all in so need of today. And so if you allow me, I am going to read Ludwig's bio. For those of you that have never met him, he's quiet, he's purposeful, he's precise, which of course makes him the amazing man that he is and what he does. I have to say that when we first spoke, he was very humble. We had to keep teasing out his bio, and so he finally gave us the whole bio here. I think you know he's an experienced choral director. He is very active as a performing pianist, producer, educator, and writer. His international award composer status that he has really brought a whole depth and a whole level of awareness internationally. After developing the Choral Tales concept, he assembled a group of world-class artists, poets, choreographers, dancers, singers, and videographers who are eager to collaborate in the project. Ludwig is donating his efforts as the Choral Tales creative director, composer, and producer. Let's give him a round of applause for that. We are excited to announce that the Choral Tales project was endorsed by Dr. Urban Laszlo, and we're honored that he has consented to join as part of the project's advisory board. Now, this is a really big deal. For those of you that do not know, he's been nominated twice for a Nobel Peace Prize. And he chose to endorse this project because of the relationship with Ludwig, but because of the purity and the authenticity of this project. And I don't know how much you know about Dr. Laszlo, but he's the author of 70 books. He's a timeless promoter of new global consciousness and is recognized as one of the great Renaissance thinkers of our times. Dr. Laszlo is also the founder and president of the Club of Budapest, which is a global platform by invitation only that you can be a part of. They facilitate positive change in the world around strength and promise of the Choral Tales project. He invited Ludwig to join the Club of Budapest as a creative member and to speak at their international gathering in Europe last year. So this has long been in the works, and look already how much this project has touched the lives of others. It's really special. Membership in the Club of Budapest is by invitation, as I mentioned, and it's based on the members engaging in significant artistic, literary, and spiritual pursuits that promote a more peaceful, equitable, and sustainable world. Its members number some 200 worldwide, among them one of my mentors, the Dalai Lama, the Princess Irene of Netherlands, the Archbishop Desmond Tutu, Jane Goodall, Deepak Chopra, and Zubin Mehta, the conductor of the Los Angeles and New York and Israel Philharmonic Orchestras. Ludwig's creative work is broad in its cultural sources and is connected with the community. His versatility as a composer allows him to write in a wide variety of musical styles. As a composer, his attraction to musical cultures of various continents has led him to use his musical elements from a range of origins. This involves honoring the varied musical sources of his creative work and bringing the human family and our cultural diversity together. The Choral Tales project is a clear example of his creative approach. Ludwig studies in music composition and related areas of music and culture were at Harvard, San Francisco State University, and UC Berkeley. Ludwig has been a member of the faculty of the Chicago Conservatory College, where he designed and taught courses in classical music, composition, and theory. And as a pianist, he has given numerous recitals and has performed as a soloist with orchestras. His musical compositions have been presented in many venues across the United States and Europe, as well as several TV and radio broadcasts. Will, you have the most special treat. You are in the right place at the right time for the right reason. We are going to get to hear Ludwig play a few pieces, including some excerpts from his compositions, Variations for Piano. The Variations won top honors in the Concurso Counterpoint, an international competition that was based in New York, and the work was premiered there in 2014. So, friends, before we begin, we need to turn our cell phones off. This is very special, and we don't want to know this, right? So, Ludwig, will you come on over and help us by celebrating this next moment? Please, give him a round of applause. Thank you so much, Ludwig.
It works. Yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to everyone for being here this evening and sharing this event with us. I'd like to say, first of all, how grateful I am to Bonnie for hosting this evening, to Leah Lacayo and other board members of the Arts Collaborative for their support, to Heidi Bradbury for her wonderful painting, to the other artists who have collaborated with their artwork on display, to Tricia Flores and Charlene Morla, our event planners. Haven't they done a great job? Also to John Lockhart and his team for the publicity, to the help and the helpful staff here at the Tower Club, and especially to Armando Lopez for all the effort and care he put into coordinating this event. You know, sometimes people ask how I got the name of Ludwig. My parents, of course, had no idea I would be drawn to music and become a composer. Here's how it happened. My father, bless his heart, was a scientist, a distinguished astrophysicist, in fact, with research labs in Stanford and in JPL here in Pasadena. But at heart, he was a frustrated violinist. And both my parents were lovers of classical music, especially Beethoven. So when son number one came along, guess what name he got? I grew up in Texas, Illinois, and California. I tried growing up with a name like Ludwig in grade school. And by the way, before I start playing, I just want to mention that Bonnie wasn't kidding about turning off the cell phones. If I hear a cell phone, I will stop and play the ringtone on the piano.
Incentive! I want to hear that.
And that's not to embarrass anyone. It's just a reflex we composers have. We can't help it, to tell you the truth. When we hear something musical, no matter how annoying it is, we automatically start analyzing it and playing it through in our minds. It's a little like a friend of mine who I saw for the first time in many years since she went away to med school. She says, you know, becoming a doctor kind of ruined my social life. So I asked why. And she says, every time I get introduced to someone at a party, I look at them and I have this reflex reaction. Automatically what I see is an x-ray of their whole skeleton. Then I see their kidneys. It's awful. So that's kind of how it is with me and ringtones. Here's a ringtone you may remember from about 10 years ago. Remember that one? Yes. I think it was from Verizon at a time when every service automatically came with its own ringtone. Of course, since then, things have evolved. Now, if you want, you can give a different ringtone to each person on your list. When that feature came out, I asked a friend to show me how it works, and he says, okay, watch. And I asked, who's that ringtone for? And he said, my 15-year-old daughter. Then there's this one, and it's a ringtone. And I asked who that one is for, and he said, oh, my office assistant. Very efficient. And then his phone rings, and I hear, and he says, oh, excuse me, that's my wife. So, speaking of spouses, my wife would have loved to be with us this evening. Unfortunately, at this time, it's really hard for her to get around or be on her feet. So she asked me to give you her greetings, and thank you all for being here. The first piece I'm going to play this evening is a song I wrote and dedicated to her. I write in many styles of music. This song happens to be in a laid-back jazz style. It's called That Sparkle in Your Eyes.
Vic, do you want the mic to?
Yeah, leave it on.
Okay.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to play for you the first movement from the Mozart Sonata in C. This is Mozart expressing pure joy, and it reminds me of birds warbling in the fields. the next piece is from a composition of mine called Variations for Piano, which Bonnie referred to in her introduction. It's actually a fairly extensive work with 14 parts, and would be too long for me to play it all this evening. So I'm going to play just a few of them, mostly from the first half of the work. So you're all invited to our next Choral Tales reception, where I'll play the other half of the video.
Just absolutely amazing. Miss Patty,
I would like to finish with one more piece.
are you going to do one more piece?
Yes.
And by the way, earlier I wanted to skip around and dance, but I was on my best behavior. The music was moving me. So if I do that this time, is it okay? Please, another round of applause. One more time. You all are getting a very extraordinary evening. This very special opportunity.
We're going to hear one more, which is actually, if I can find my notes here. Pardon me. Yes. So I'd like to share with you finally a piece I wrote for choir, which is relevant since the Choral Tales project will be based on pieces for choir. The song we're going to hear, and this is the last piece from me, is new, and it hasn't been premiered or recorded yet. So what I did was create a provisional recording using choral sounds without words to give an idea of how the piece goes. The piece is called Sunrise. It's a bit more formal than the Choral Tales, since the latter will be telling folk stories and their music will be somewhat more playful than what we're going to hear tonight. But in both cases, they are a cappella choral music, meaning there are no instruments to accompany the choir. So they have a lot in common. It's going to come over.
right in the middle of the room. Did any of you have any idea that you were going to have this sneak peek tonight other than the committee? So don't say if you knew the surprise, but are you as taken by that piece as I am as a sample of what can be? You're otherworldly. And if there was a night that we needed to be lifted, our hearts and our spirits, and through music and through art, you certainly accomplished that. Thank you so much, sir. It is such a privilege. Thank you again to the award. Miss Heidi, where are you? Heidi Bradbury, it's time for you to come up. So Heidi is, I think what we think of our quintessential artist. She's very quiet at times, does not like to be the center of attention. Her art speaks for her. Is that fair to say, Miss Heidi? She is a well-known artist. I have the personal privilege of getting to know her through our Ventura County Fair family and Frank Bradbury years ago. Miss Heidi is based in Ojai. She learned about the Choral Tales project. She was so taken by it that she felt moved to create the work that we've all get to see here tonight and donate. I think would have been hundreds and hundreds of hours. And I know you're going to take a moment to tell us a little bit about what this Choral Tales project means to you, that the Choral Tales project took you to a whole other place as you created this painting with these inspiring stories. So without further ado, please welcome Miss Heidi Bradbury.
So Bonnie's right, I'm out of my comfort zone right now. Usually my studio and my brushes is where I do best. But I will try to let you know how this project inspired me and how this painting came to be. When I first read the tales that are from four various parts of the world, very far apart, I was touched by the common thread of values that were in all of them. They're simple tales, but they're very powerful. Values of compassion, generosity, kindness, respect for one another, for our environment, for the animals. And it just really moved me. And what also came to my mind is that I never really thought about, I know that I try to teach my children those things, and I'm sure that those of you with children, you try to teach them the same lessons, but I never really thought about how global that is, especially in this day and age when you see so much of the opposite. So anyway, that's really inspired me. I took the characters from the four folk tales and put them in a mandala type design. And I like the mandala because for me it feels like oneness, that we essentially all of our paths from around the world, wherever we're from, all of our paths lead to the same place. And we all have a divine spark within us. And this is what inspired me. The folktales are all here, and if anyone is interested in talking to me about any of them, I'm happy to answer any questions. And the title, Namaste, really is fitting for this project, that we honor one another for who we are, and we accept one another regardless of opinions, value, or certainly you want the same values, but I honor you, and that is returned. So I think that's about it.
What would you like our guests tonight as they think about supporting this project to be thinking about? And you're helping with that. Why do you want us to kind of get
I think we all want to go back to that place, the human truths of compassion, kindness, generosity, that we want to go back to that place. And I think this project, with all of the different art forms, sort of inspired by those feelings and those values, it just really is going to be a great project. I'm honored to be a part of this, truly. And I'm excited to see how drama, music, the poetry, all the various art forms, how they will be inspired by the same stories. So I hope you'll read the stories, and if you have any questions about the piece, I'm here to answer them.
Thank you, Heidi Bradbury, our artist of Namaste, which, as you can tell, deeply cares so much about the project and interpreting those stories and the project to be able to produce this piece of artwork. So, did you know that the original piece of artwork has been sold already? Did you all know that? In case you have an extra 10,000, we can still have you donate it to the project. But that said, Heidi's extraordinary painting does belong to a donor who is in this room. So look around, because I'm going to read their statement. Could be you, could be your neighbor next. Some angel loved the project, loved Miss Heidi's piece of art that she created, and truly wanted to connect into this larger story of humanity. And so, with your permission, we're very grateful to Ludwig to help us put together the statement. Our donor wants to remain anonymous, but we would like to honor them by being able to read their message to all of you in the room this evening. So if you will allow me. Dear Mr. Armando Lopez and the Arts Collaborative Board of Directors, I am so pleased to be the recipient of the painting by Ms. Heidi Bradbury entitled Namaste. The painting is magnificent in its composition, color, and detail. I love how it expresses the diversity and oneness of humankind. To me, it is equally impressive that the painting was inspired by the Choral Tales project. The project expresses a timely theme in its celebration of the beauty of cultural diversity and oneness. Its founder, Mr. Ludwig Thumann, is a world-class composer whose music I have so enjoyed on several occasions that so many distinguished individuals have already volunteered so much time, effort, and resources in its development shows that this is an idea whose time has come. This is a project that I am truly honored to support. And so whoever you are, anonymous donor, we all say namaste to you. Let's give them a round of applause. So you came in, and thank you so much. You came in today, you rushed, you got through your busy schedules and all of the many things that you have to do on a day-to-day basis. But you chose to be here this evening, and we are so thankful. Here's the most exciting part. You've had a fellowship, you had the most beautiful treat from Ludwig to play for you, and then to give you this sneak peek of the project, to hear from the artist herself about what inspired. The last thing is you. Help us connect those dots. Join into this theme and be a part of this larger story that will live on for a very long time. I would say a couple of generations. So with that, I'm going to ask a dear friend and partner to come up. Barbara Hinton. She's the founder of the Ventura Arts and Street Painting Festival, and she's going to be my Vanna White, because thanks to Heidi Bradbury, we have a beautiful piece of original art that we're going to do a live auction for. So now is the time to open up your hearts and those checkbooks. Miss Barbara, will you grab that piece and kind of walk around? And while she is presenting this, a beautiful crane and necklace there. Miss Heidi may have a couple of words to say if she wants to come up and talk about it. I've got the other mic here for you, because you made this donation possible. Miss Barbara's going to come and walk it around for you. I'm sure you all have seen it, and I know there's already a couple of people that would like to purchase the piece.
I can't take any credit for this. Sharon Campbell, who's here, was generous enough to contribute to our beautiful project. And she's a jeweler, and she lives in Ojai. She does beautiful work, and if you're interested, she's willing to do art pieces or jewelry pieces relating to the project. And with each piece, if you choose, she loves doing animals, and you can choose one, and she'll give us a percentage to our cause.
Thank you very much, Ms. Heidi. Okay, so without further ado, I know some of our committee members are going to help spot. So when they see your hand, you know how a live auction works. This is one of those priceless moments for you to contribute. And we're going to go ahead and, where is Armando, my wonderful partner? What are we starting the bid at, sir?
$10.
$10. Just kidding is right. Is everybody jump up? $400 it shall be. So can I see a raise of hands for the first bid of $400, please, for this beautiful necklace? It is a one-of-a-kind piece. I thought I saw a hand back there.
Since you asked me, I'll open it.
You'll start the bidding at 400. Okay, we have 400. Do we have 425? This is a beautiful piece of art if you haven't seen it yet, and it is one of a kind. Don't make Armando buy it. He's already spent tens of thousands of dollars on this project. Think about this as an investment into this project. And that's really what this piece is going to signify for you. So I have 400. Do I have $425 for the piece? Don't scratch your nose. You're going to... Absolutely. I think what we'll do, Armando, is put it on our website.
500.
500. Oh my gosh, you are so gracious. And you know how these things work. I was only able to host tonight because I went to all of my girlfriends and said, you have to help me pay for this party. This is a world-class event and we need to put this out for our community. And they did. And that's how collaboration works. We're here for each other. Everybody does a little bit. So 500 is what we have. Do we have $525? Okay, so we're going to do $500. Please give a round of applause to Mr. Lopez for his wonderful generosity. Thank you, Barbara Hinton, and be looking for her out at the Ventura Art and Street Painting Festival. We do have a wonderful cooperative here. We have our Ventura Fair family. We have so many artists that are here. And the wonderful collaborative committee that put this together for you. We've got an opportunity for you to be able to purchase quite a few pieces of arts at different sizes and at different levels. Please know that all that you invested today goes directly into the program. And we wanted to host you at a very nominal fee so that you would be able to do that today. But we know you want to invest more than $20. So if you could please see our wonderful team. There's still a little bit of food left, I understand, and I want to give one more giant thank you to the staff here at the Tower Club who did a beautiful job in presenting everything. We've got our friends, of course, everybody knows Bob Allen from KDTV. If you want to repeat and watch this, it'll be posted up tomorrow where you can access it and watch it again. And thank you so much to the committee. Please give them a round of applause. And our beautiful co-chair, Ms. Leah Lacayo, you made my job very easy. Thank you for being a wonderful partner. And Armando, as always, any path you take us all down, we know is one with purpose, passion, and the ability to pay it forward and help others. And I'm ever grateful to you for bringing us all together this evening. Thank you so much. We still have the silent auction, so please take your time. We're here till